Today, America finds herself at a critical juncture in history. And the words of the prophet are ringing ever true in this day. As in days of old, when the prophet's voice came forward like Jeremiah that said, "O my soul, I've heard the sound of the trumpet. I've heard the alarm for war." It was the shocking word that came forth to give us the blueprint about how do we return to God when we find ourselves in the midst of crisis. What's the solution? What is the appropriate response when a nation finds themselves confronted with the judgments of the Lord? In the book of Joel, the first thing that the prophet says is, "Hear, hear you elders, give ear you inhabitants of the land." And we're in a day when the leadership of the nation needs to learn how to hear. Are we discerning what hour we're in and what time it is? We find ourselves like never before. Only 4% of America's young people have any church engagement. 4%. If you would have taken that back 60 years ago, it would have been 65%. We find ourselves at a crucial place. We find ourselves standing at a critical juncture. Like Joel's day, a financial crisis came in the form of a locust plague, but it was going to be followed by a military crisis. Here we are today in America. A financial crisis has hit our land. We find ourselves in the middle of a global shaking, and even already you're hearing the voices say everything's going to be okay. But I want to tell you clearly, that's not true. If we don't respond rightly to the advice of the prophet, the blueprint that the Lord has given from heaven of how to return, this financial crisis will end in a military conflict before it's over. And the prophet came forth with 2 trumpets, and he said this, "Blow a trumpet in Zion, sound the alarm that the day of the Lord is near." Be honest about where we're at as a nation. Discern the season. It's the day of the Lord. It's God who's done this. And since September 11, God has been shouting, "I'm trying to speak to you, America. I'm speaking to your very heart. I brought calamities. I brought floods. I brought disasters. I've undercut your finances, and still have you turned." And then the second trumpet is this: gather, fast, pray, cry out to God, spare your people. Call everyone, shut down business as usual, and give yourselves to day and night prayer and gatherings of fasting and prayer. Well, I want to just exhort you for a moment. Awaken the Dawn in Fredericksburg, Virginia are calling that region together for this precise goal. Let's do what Joel said to do. Let's gather. We can turn this tide. The question is, will we come together and will we cry out to God and ask Him to spare His people? And will He send a revival that averts the crisis? Or will He send a revival that only prepares us for eternity in the midst of a crisis? Revival's not enough. We've got to have more than revival. We've got to have a revival that averts the crisis. And Joel stands in that day and says, look, yes, God's going to send revival, but the question is, will the revival avert the crisis and bring blessing to the nation? Or will the revival, like in Josiah's day, only prepare us for the crisis and prepare a whole generation for military conflict to meet their Maker for eternity? That's the question before us. And I want to applaud Fredericksburg, Virginia and the Awaken the Dawn Conference for going the way of Joel. And I want to appeal to you, gather Virginia, gather East Coast, gather Washington, D.C. The hour is urgent. We're standing between a financial crisis and judgments to come. We don't have time to do business as usual. We need to get together. We need to fast and pray, cry out for God's mercy.